So manga is the base, right? Manga is the foundation for an anime to grow. There are many anime that are made first and then the manga is based on it, but manga is the first thing that you first get to read, maybe, especially in Japan, and you understand the creator of the show, the mangakas, the manga writers or the authors or whoever writes it. You can understand them by reading the manga. And of course, anime has fillers. We all hate fillers, right? Some of them. Okay. Not the Itachi filler that happened in Naruto, because we all loved it, but the other ones, we don't like to wait for them. And people who think that manga is really difficult to follow, you don't know how to read a manga, honestly. And I follow shoujo a lot, okay? So shoujo is like my favorite genre, and I read a lot of them. But the anime that I watch sometimes are not up to the mark. They have many subtle scenes that are not, up to the mark, like Vampire Night or something, because they're not that great compared to the art style. So that's why for manga.
Hello, I'm Kabir M. Goa Mustafi. Don't even try to remember my name. Hey, I'm speaking for anime.
Start.
Okay, let's address fillers first, because everyone makes a big deal out of it. If anyone's ever heard of the anime Air Gear, you'll know where I'm coming from. Air Gear is probably the anime that started me on this journey in the first place, even though I did read the manga instead of watch the anime. Air Gear would not exist if fillers did not exist. The guy who wrote Air Gear, oh great, was a guy who wrote fillers for the original Evangelion, which, again, can we all agree, is a masterpiece of an anime. I mean, the manga of Evangelion had not only million plot holes, it also had the strangest ending ever. It was just him staring at the Evangelion, and the Evangelion looked down and sort of lifted its arm, and that's where the manga ends. What? What is going on? Okay. Next, let's talk about Boku Dakeka Inaimachi, or as some people would know it, Erased. Everyone loves the anime. Please tell me you've watched the anime. It's amazing. Now, please go and read the manga. It's sloppy. It's just downright sloppy. And a lot of that sloppiness has been cleared up by the anime, because, it was transferred into an anime. Like, a lot of crap that the writers of mangas can get away with, they can put in there and people will ignore it because the thing is so long. They have to be shortened, they have to be cut off, because making a manga. So then anime sort of condenses the message, condenses the essence of a manga into something of obviously higher quality. I mean, you can't make booze without fermentation. It takes time. Okay. Next thing. If you watch it, please tell me you watch subs. Please.
Last 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
10.
Thank you. Please tell me you watch subs, because if you don't watch subs, something's wrong with you. Yeah. We get to, a lot of us, I'm pretty sure we'll know the words konnichiwa, arigato, and stuff like that. We know a different language because we read this stuff. So clearly I think I made a few points for anime.
Good, but I guess I don't have to introduce myself since my t-shirt says it all. And today I would like to speak for anime. Well, my first anime, which I started watching back in class 4 or 5, I guess, was Pokemon. Back then I didn't know the difference between an anime and a manga, or I didn't know what those were. But still, watching Pokemon was just like watching another cartoon, because the action sequences, the music schemes, well, those engrossed me. And I kept on watching anime from there on. I came to know of the manga thing when I was in class 11 or 12, I guess. But initially it disturbed me, because the reading style was opposite to what we are used to. So for a young student like me who is new to the world of anime and manga, I guess he would obviously go for an anime, because it's like watching another cartoon. And the next thing is that in an anime, the the original writer is not creating. Like an anime is derived from manga. So there are some new additions to to the manga story. But well, in some of the anime series, the stories are good, the additions are good, the fillers are good, and in the others they are bad. So it's not right to say that okay, an anime has fillers, so an anime is worse than a manga. I guess people should not judge it like that. Well,
Speaking in favor of manga. Okay, so the starting thing will obviously be the fact that manga is the original source content of most anime. If anime aren't adapted from manga, they're usually adapted from light novels. So in manga, you get a lot more content, you get a lot more intricate artwork, and you get more story instead of just boring ass fillers. Then after that, reading manga, those of us who are trying to learn Japanese after watching anime and reading manga actually helps you develop your language skills better. It also, in terms of involvement, manga is better because for anime you can make your fan art and you can write your fan fiction, but in terms of manga you can make your own doujinshi. So there's a lot more fan involvement in the community. Coming from that, there's also the thing that manga is a lot more indie inclusive medium, whereas in anime you need a production studio, you need a lot of production value, and you can have that stuff in manga, but in you can also be an indie creator and put out your manga, and that manga can become famous. The last point would be that since manga are the original content, what's the point in watching anime when you already have spoilers from the manga? So that's it.
So, before starting for anime, we have to acknowledge that all the respect for manga, because if you're a true anime fan or otaku or whatever you call yourself, if you can't have respect for both anime and manga, then you shouldn't be a fan for Japanese anime. So, for my points supporting anime is that first of all, many of you are in college, but since I am working, or I was working, so you don't generally have time to read because it takes a lot of time and everything. But anime, you can just concise it and just watch it in 20 minutes, 23 minutes, whatever, and then just finish it up in say so one night. You can start it on a Saturday and end it by Sunday morning and go on with the next anime. And so this has a wider range of audience. It just doesn't have to be India. It can be reached out to America, German, where they don't even speak English, because thanks to e-subs and fan subs, we can have subs in different languages. And another thing is, when you think of Dragon Ball Z or other, say, shonen action anime, you have to recognize the action sequences, which I'm pretty sure you won't see in manga. The high-speed action, the battle between good, evil, or whatever it is that which you like, that action just makes you go. Bleh. So that is why that feeling you will never get in manga. So anime for me is the source for ultimate ultimate excitement with the Japanese manga or animation. So
10 seconds.
okay. So thank you so much for having me and have a great day.